Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the information session of the ASEAN Integration Law LLM at Graduate School of Waseda University. I am the course director, Tamio Nakamura, and I'd like to introduce some of the main features and some of the noticeable points of our course. Okay. First, I'll talk about what the LLM means, and then I'll talk about program features and some reasons for you to study with us, and then some of the general description of main curriculum and some of the depiction of courses in a specific way. Okay. Tuitions and others, those things will be explained by Ms. Onishi afterwards. Okay. And thereafter, we'll have plenty of time for questions. Now, first of all, what is LLM stand for? LLM is the master's degree in law in Latin. And as you know, in Japan, undergraduate education of legal studies are given by law faculties of various universities for 4 years in standard course. Okay. So our LLM situate in the next stage of higher education at graduate level. Okay, so graduate master's level. There are 3 options in Japan at the moment. One is going to law school, so-called law school, which is dedicated to the study of passing bar exams. Okay, so when you want to become a lawyer or judge or prosecutor, you have to go to this law school to study and take exams. Whereas the classical way, the master's in law is in our context, mainly devoted for raising scholars, young scholars who research and write some PhD thesis. Okay. Our LLM is neither of those. That is the middle way, and those who want to become some kind of special and advanced professionals in various fields, either in office or in diplomacy or in company work or whatever. Okay. Why do we need this? Because our society is now very much, advanced and also globalized, that the national unit of study of law is not enough to cope with new problems that often reaches out of Japan and touches upon many other jurisdictions in the world. So we need some more international perspective, as well as some of the newer knowledge, such as IT laws or some other issues on the environment, for example. So anybody who wants to become some kind of special advanced professions, then LLM is just suitable for that purpose. Okay. And this course is, incidentally, 1-year course, very much expedited course. Normally, masters in law, in classical way, is for 2 years. And during those years, they write a thesis, master's thesis. Whereas in LLM, that's the very much compressed course. So we don't require full master thesis, but instead, we require a so-called research paper whose topic you can choose. Right. So what are the features of our program? Well, I can say at least 3 of them. One is the global and regional perspectives, which means that, as you have heard, the global issues. We take up several global issues, such as international trade law, international environmental law, and so on, or human rights protection. Those are quite, standard, as it were. Many universities offer this. But we add some other elements, that is regional, specifically Asian regional perspectives, which is quite rare at the moment. All over the world, I have researched several similar LLMs offered in many other universities, but none of them have specifically identified Asia or East Asia as a regional unit. So We deliberately chose this regional perspective because we find it some kind of potential in the near future. You can see this little map. This mainly depicts so-called ASEAN, Southeast Asian countries of 10, plus some parts of China here. And as you can easily foresee, these areas are very much rapidly growing in economy. So the weight of economy as well as political value would quite rapidly increase in the near future. And hence, we will have some kind of legal problem as well as legal, probably, cooperation as well between those. So with that kind of perspective, we deliberately chose to pick up this Asian regional perspective, half descriptively, half predictably. Okay? And also the second feature is the theoretical, the mixture of practical analysis with theoretical analysis. It often happens that when you take up new topic, you tend to become really descriptive, what's just describing what's happening, and without devoting so much about the analysis of value of those happenings. So we introduce theoretical standards to assess those practical incidents in the matter of international trade relations here, or environmental issues and so on. And third feature is the compactness. And it's 1 year expedited course, very speedy course, intensive course. So your study must be a bit heavier than as you have experienced in undergraduate. But still, it's quite interesting and stimulating. This is a real picture of the this year's LLM students. And they're very much keen on discussion and also making some presentations based on their own research as well. They're quite participatory. We are in small number. Maximum is 28 at the moment, but usually, on average, it's about 10. So it's like seminar classes. Let's pick up some of the examples. In my course, for example, I'm taking up two issues. One is the comparison of regionalism. What does this mean? Regionalism is described as the political decision to make some wider macro region as a unit. So European Union is one of the primary example of regionalism. They fought war each other, so they didn't really cooperate for a long time. But after the 1950s, they decided politically to unite together to form a common market, and later with common voice to the world. Okay? So European Union is one of the typical example of regionalism. And we do have similar regionalism in ASEAN countries in Southeast Asia. So my question, the first question is, what those regionalism would have in international relations, especially in terms of law? Here depicts the economic relations at the moment. The fatter the arrow would become, the more volume of trade is happening. Okay, Japan, this is the Japanese-made map, so Japan is situated in the center, but that's none of any other intentions. Japan has a lot of economic ties with China and ASEAN countries very much. Okay, this is Republic of Korea. So largely speaking, Japan, China, ASEAN, those are very much of a, triangle, very heavy triangle. Look at other fields. NAFTA represents North American Free Trade Area, so includes US, Canada, Mexico. Okay. Japan naturally, historically, has a very much heavy tie with the NAFTA countries as well, especially the US. By contrast, Japan has very few thin tie with the EU 28 countries because geographically it's too far, and also strategically we haven't cooperated so much with the EU. For security reasons, Japan and the US have strong relations, whereas for security reasons, we don't have so much with the European countries. That's partly the reason, and also geography. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that we can see clearly that it will be a meaningful analytical framework to set deliberately a macro-regional unit of East Asia in this sense, to find out some of the new features in law as well. For example, we have TPP 11 at the moment. TPP 12 was the original, but the United States decided to move out from the TPP 12, so it's remodified into TPP 11. But still, it covers most of the important partners of the world, of this area. This is not enough, but it's one of the features. Also, ASEAN itself has made their efforts to make up their own communities in economics, socio-cultural aspects, as well as security issues. So there are some legal movement towards backing up some of the regionalism formative way. And also, significantly, Japan and EU has concluded a new FTA this year with a political framework agreement as well. So from now on, we might have some more legal ties and relations much stronger than before. But still, why EU wanted to have this new trade agreement with Japan? That is partly because Japan would become, from their perspective, a, how shall I say, gateway to this Asian region. So based on this, how shall I say, economic realities, there are some corresponding legal developments as well. And in our course, we'll discuss how we assess these kind of legal movements. That's one course. The another course I talk about is the theoretical one. When you look at this new way of legal development, they are made by mainly two, how shall I say, players. One is the state player, public sector lawmaking. The other is private individuals and companies. They make contracts, and they stipulate a lot of new rules in their contracts. So private lawmaking as well as public lawmaking are simultaneously happening under this picture. So how we assess these lawmakings, what would happen when the public and private lawmakings are in conflict, and how do we solve this, and so on. And significantly, we have no common court of justice in our area. So how do we solve the legal dispute over specific contractual terms or treaty terms and so on? That would be discussed in the second class I'm talking about, I'm teaching. Okay. So that's the theoretical analysis or legal analysis of EU or ASEAN and so on. So you can see some of the reasons why you study with us. Well, first of all, it's a unique course, a very much unique course in comparing the several regionalisms in the world at the moment. European LLM talks about European integration mainly. They seldom touch upon East Asian integration. And East Asian universities sometimes talk about EU, but they don't really talk about themselves. That's quite ironic. But Waseda's course, I think I'm very proud of this, but we are the top runner of ASEAN integration analysis at the moment. And also, we have a lot of specialists in international law, environmental law, contract law, and so on. So you can enjoy the cutting-edge knowledge as well as theoretical perspective in every field of your study. And Waseda University itself has a lot of strong contacts with Asian, American, European universities, as well as businesses. So when you finish, or during your LLM course, and also when you finish the course, you can still develop into many other directions of study or in business and so on. Okay? So this is a very good starting point. Now, let's just look at some of the curriculums. It's divided into two types. One is the required courses. The other is the elective courses. Elective courses, you can choose any of them. Okay? A required course, it's a compulsory course, so everybody has to take that particular course. And I'm teaching these two required courses, legal regulation of global and macro-regional markets. That's the theoretical analysis part. Comparative law of regional integration, EU, ASEAN, and APEC. That's the first introductory comparing regionalism course. Plus, you must write research paper. Okay, so these three elements are the required ones, and everybody has to do with has to tackle with these. Okay, others are of your own choice. So if you are, for example, interested in international relations and legal issues related to those, you can choose principles of international law, international human rights law, international law of the sea, and so on. Okay. If you are interested in more business, say, for example, financial businesses, then you can take regulation of financial markets in Japan, or some of the, where was it? Global economy of the law related to secure transactions in Japan, or law and practice in international business transaction in East Asia, or dispute resolutions, arbitration, and so on. Where was it? I can't remember. This one, commercial arbitration in East Asia. So whichever interest you have, whatever interest you have, there are some courses corresponding to yours. Okay. So that's the feature of our course. And I strongly recommend you seriously think about taking our courses. Okay, so far is the content of our course. And thereafter, some of the technical issues. And I'll hand over the mic to Ms. Onishi for her to explain.
So about the curriculum, well, our curriculum is 30 credits are the requirements in 1 year. Well, 30 credits is like one course has 2 credits. It's like 15 courses in 1 year. And you need to, well, as Professor said, you need to write a research paper too. And I will explain about the tuition and fees and admission information. Well, you can see this chart, you can find this chart on the guideline too, on page 8. Well, as you may already know, this is 1 year master's program. So the total fee of this program is this amount. And I believe some of you are from Waseda University. Well, if you have paid enrollment fee already, like admission fee, like 200,000 yen, if you have paid this amount, you do not pay twice. You have to pay twice. So these amount, and also alumni fee too. So if you have paid this amount already, this amount will be deducted from the total amount. Okay? And for detailed information will be on page 8. And admission information. Well, this is a master's degree, so you need to have a bachelor degree or higher in order to apply. And from this admission year, we will require a law degree or equivalent legal knowledge, like a legal background. It's required for the admission. We'll talk about this later. And method of screening, we'll do the document screening. And if it's necessary, we'll do the interview too. But if you're not in Japan during the interview period, well, we can do the interview on the Skype or other method on the internet. And so we'll only do the document screening mainly. And what are the documents you need to submit? Well, please refer to page 5 and 6 on the admission guideline. Of course, you need to submit the academic transcript from your undergraduate schools or schools you've attended after the high school. And 2 recommendation letters, reason for application, why you want to apply for this program. And the English examination scorecard. And other documents listed in here. And the last thing is the schedule. Please refer to page 1 for this guideline. Well, you need to do the online registration first in order to apply for this program. So the online registration will open from September 10th to September 14th, which is Monday to Friday. And after registering online, please submit all documents required by post. So that deadline is September 21st. The result of admission will come up on October 25th, and the class will start from April to 2019. Well, before we'll ask your questions, let me introduce some FAQ, frequently asked questions. So this is maybe the important one. So law degree will be required. Well, yes, preferable. Well, for this initial year, we have like 20-some students, and half of students have a legal knowledge, and the other half do not have a legal knowledge. And what we realized is that it's so hard to organize if there is a student who doesn't have any legal knowledge, like at least we required at least like a basic knowledge of legal things. So if you do not have a formal law degree, please state your equivalent knowledge or experience on a separate sheet of paper and submit that with your application documents. And second question might be, is there like minimum score for the English examination card? Well, no, not set for this admission year. However, it's so clear that higher would be better. And we do not reject automatically if the score is super low, but we do consider about the score. And is there any scholarship available? Well, yes. Well, more than half students, international students, receives some kinds of scholarships this year. And your application documents are the important. We consider your transcripts and other application materials as a whole. And the last, frankly, FAQ would be, is it necessary to contact a professor before you apply? Well, the answer is no. You do not need to contact the professor, just please apply. And that is the last question. Do you have questions for any kinds? Any question is fine. Please use the mic, please. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, thank you.
When I was looking at the documents for application online, there was one paper that said letter of recommendation. So that is necessary for the application as well.
Yes.
So does that paper have to come from a Waseda professor?
No,
No.
it doesn't matter. Maybe.
You can ask any professor who know you best. Okay. So from your undergraduate days, if you have some, contact with the professor, you can ask that professor. Yes.
Thank you.
And that letter can be sent to us directly from your recommender too.
I just wanted to ask, what kind of career did this year's graduates take on after graduating from LLM?
They haven't graduated, so we don't really know so far. But they have said some of them would like to become state officials, the public servants, and some of them going to business. Some wants to become a lawyer, and some wants to stay on and study more. So quite diverse, actually.
Yeah.
I have a degree in multidisciplinary studies from the University of Oklahoma, and I took classes like international law, criminal justice, criminology, social gender, juvenile justice, and majority-minority relations. So do I need, because I don't have the law degree, so do I write like a separate letter like you said? Or do I just send my transcripts without a letter?
Well, you can do several things. First of all, please submit your scores, and then you can separately write what you have learned that relates to law. Okay, the dispute resolutions or whatever you have mentioned. Okay, and also it's preferable to submit some of the sample essays that you wrote in that course, because that would show how much, legal studies are involved and so on. So you can do a lot of things to establish that you have got a solid knowledge of law in particular area of law. Yeah.
She talked about the letter. Do we need two? Because you said 2 letters.
Yes, 2 letters from 2 recommenders.
Professor.
One, yes, so 2 letters.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Another question? Well, we'll stay here another 10 minutes or so. So if you have questions individually, please come to the front. And I have actually one favor. You might have a questionnaire, like piece of paper. I would like you to fill out this form. It might just take 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you.